In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the very first Sideshow Collectible action figure I'm featuring on the channel. I do have a few in my collection, not too many, but the few I have, I'm very proud of. They've definitely been a very integral part of my 6-scale Star Wars collection, and I would argue, especially with this particular character you're looking at right here, in many ways is better than their Hot Toys counterpart. But I'll get into that more as the video goes on. But for this particular character, we'll be taking a look at the Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. Originally, I got him back in mid-2018 or so, and that's mostly because I wanted him to accompany another character that we'll be taking a look at here next, which is a custom action figure. And at the time, I was debating between either the Sideshow one, this one here, or the Hot Toys one, which there was a Hot Toys Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker available at the time. But something looked really off about that action figure to me in the face. And I think that one was more specific to his appearance on the Death Star 2. While this one here is definitely the all-in-one Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. You can have him in his Jabba's Palace look, the various action scenes, all the way to him escaping the Death Star 2. And in many ways, I think this Luke, he blends in perfectly with a lot of the Hot Toys action figures. Sure, he doesn't have that quite that lifelike look, but if you have him in like this appearance here, he blends in perfectly. You can barely even tell the difference between like Hot Toys and Sideshow. It's a very good action figure, and I'm glad it's a part of my collection. But without saying anything further, we'll take a look at his package here first, which is a very interesting package to look at. Some nice images of both Luke on screen and then the figure there. Luke Skywalker 12-inch figure. Star Wars Sideshow exclusive. I think he was released back in 2006 originally. Order of the Jedi and Sideshow Collectibles. Another image of the figure there, more in his Jabba's Palace look. Some more scenes from the film there. And some of the other action figures. I did consider getting that Anakin Skywalker, but now that I have some of the Hot Toys ones, it's probably not too necessary. And then you have Obi-Wan and Kit Fisto. There are other Sideshow action figures I would like to get at some point, mainly Clone Troopers. And I think they're Clone Troopers that chances are will never get a Hot Toys action figure, but you never know. We'll see what the future brings. Another image of Luke there. Then what you do is, it's kind of magnetic on the side here. Then you just open this up. And then it reveals the accessories. Then where the figure itself is housed. Then you have a very long description there. I'm not going to read this one, but I will glaze over it slowly and let you read that if you like. Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. And then I really like the rundown of the accessories there. I appreciate that because, of course, it lets you know exactly what he's supposed to have. And then you have another description here, which is, I think, is mostly about the history of the Jedi. But really like this package. A lot of lore behind it, and looking at it 20 years later, it's quite frankly fun to look at. I'm not really big on keeping packages of action figures, but this is definitely one I will be keeping. It's even more fun to look at than a lot of the Hot Toys packaging. But that's the package for Luke. Now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the figure himself. So I do like him in this setup here. The hood fits around him really good. And you can see what I mean, where, yeah, he doesn't have quite that lifelike appearance, but it's a really good head sculpt for Luke. I look at him and think, yeah, that's Mark Hamill. More zoomed in look there. Fairly neutral expression. Details in the face look really good. Hair sculpt looks pretty good. As for his robe here, again, really like this. It's a very thick material, very good material. Might be a little dusty, but it's alright. See his tunic here. So this particular part of his tunic is what we see him wearing in Jabba's palace. But you can take that off, which I will here in a moment. Have his trousers and his boots there. The end of his cloak here is a little frayed. Well, it's always been like that. Can't really help that. And the way you take that off is you just have this clasp here. Just kind of show you what he looks like with his tunic. It is a little bit of a tight fit to get on him. I'm not sure if the band here is supposed to go on the back, but either way, it works. So the way you take this outer part of his tunic off, just take basically the belt off there. Then, of course, on the stand there, have this. And then just take this off like a jacket. Like so. I do like this being a little bit more of a darker blue color. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but it is just something unique and it does look good on him. And again, dust really shows up on him, but here he is with his later appearance in the film. for the back of him. Yeah, I'll definitely have to take a lint roller to him. And one other thing I'll appreciate, or I do appreciate about his tunic here, is this isn't just specific to certain sequences in the film. It is also after his duel with his father there, so you can lift that flap up on the front there, then reenact that scene. Of course, you do have his belt here, which I think you could take off. I never actually have. It does have a clip there for his lightsaber, and he does have that pouch there. Articulations, exactly what you would expect from a sideshow figure, but just kind of showing the head there, the range of motion. It's pretty good. It does have a swivel there as well. Pretty good. The shoulders, his tunic doesn't really form to it really well. It does look a little awkward, but just kind of have to work with it. See the hinge on the elbow there. You do have the hinge at the wrist. And at the torso there, it's pretty good. I think it is kind of as, yeah, more at the abdomen. And we'll take the stand off here. As for his legs, pretty good range of motion. Can get a lot of nice action poses. Hinge at the knee. And yeah, not really anything at the ankles, but even if there is, there's not really much flex to his boots there, so you're not really going to get a lot there. But still, pretty good articulation. As for accessories, so I have everything laid out here. We'll take a look at his lightsaber here first. This is with the ignited blade, which looks pretty good. Has that nice deep green color. It does look like it'd be fragile right there, so would recommend being careful. It does still have this hook here, so you can put this particular hilt on his belt. And then you have the unignited one as well, which can fit right there. Looks pretty good. Next, you do have this bone here when he's in the Rancor pit. And I think he can pretty much hold this all right in his hand. I've never really used this accessory. But yeah, he can hold that all right. If you wanted to do something like that. Then next, you have the blaster pistol that he borrows in Jabba's palace, which does have the accompany hand to go along with it. Finger fits well around the trigger. Next, you have a very interesting hand. It's the ungloved hand, but this is after he was shot in the hand on the sail barge. Very interesting detail there. And then you have this more open palmed hand. Very good details. Have all the wrinkles in his knuckles, for instance. And then nails. And then for his other hands, of course, you have the gloved hand. Which is the one I primarily have for him. And then you have this other gripping hand for his left arm there. But that is pretty much it for accessories. It would have been nice to have an all black robe or cloak as well. That's alright. I don't think he technically wore that in the film anyway, but that would have been a great accessory for like an EU look. And as far as swapping out the hands, typically not too difficult. I just want to be careful with that joint at the end. But last but not least, you do have the display stand, which you can take apart, which is pretty standard for all the Sideshow action figures. Just says Star Wars on it. Then you have the brace. Which is adjustable. A lot of these Sideshow action figures really don't have that much trouble standing on their own, but still nice to have. Never know when these might fall over, and don't really want to risk them nose diving and then scratching the paint off. More often than not, this is usually how I have them displayed. But lots of nice accessories. Like I said, it's basically the ultimate Return of the Jedi Luke. Just about everything he needs. But I think that's all I can really initially tell you about him. I would definitely recommend him for your collection. Even if you're a Hot Toys collector, I would still highly consider this Luke. And like I said, it does come down to your personal preference. For me, the Hot Toys Luke, something just looked off about it, so I opted for the Sideshow one instead, and I'm glad I did. Quite frankly, I don't see a need to replace him at all. Perhaps Hot Toys will come out with a new Return of the Jedi Luke at some point, and maybe it'll look a little more like Mark Hamill. But who knows? Even if that never happens, he's still a very important part of my collection. Return of the Jedi Luke is my favorite appearance for Luke, and I'm glad to have him in every scale for both Black Series, 3 3/4 inch, and then of course Sideshow here. A very nice action figure, highly recommended. I'm sure most of the Sideshow action figures at this point would be considered obsolete, but there's still a lot of great hidden treasures out there. One that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is the Tartakovsky Asajj Ventress. I'd like to get that one at some point, but we'll see what the future brings. Just glad to have this one at least. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for playing more in the future. There's always more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support, and check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. And as always, thanks for watching.